G'day Tigers fans, I'm Konrad Marshall, a senior writer with Good Weekend magazine and The Age, and like most listeners, probably all listeners, a Richmond tragic, welcoming you now to another episode of Conversations with Konrad. My guest today is Ryan Ferguson. Ferg is the senior coach of our AFLW team, but he's got a long and circuitous footy history prior to that. He was a player, a 6'6" defender who wore the Demons Guernsey for 47 games, once even calling our current men's coach, Adam Uze, a teammate. His senior AFL career was cut short by injury, however, yet he went on to play excellent footy in the SANFL before joining Richmond as a development coach and now leading our girls. I'm really happy to have him in the studio for a chat today about his story and the W season that's about to start. Welcome, Ferg.
Thanks, Konrad. I've been first crack at it. It's good.
Great to have you here. So I understand that you began playing your footy in Belgrave before kind of progressing to the Frankston Dolphins. Can you tell us a little bit about your footy journey as a kid? Like, who'd you go for? What were you like as a player?
Well, yeah, surprise, surprise. I went for Richmond, which comes in handy.
Fantastic.
Mostly my whole family were Richmond. Grew up in a time I love the Tigers, but we weren't very good. Mm-hmm. But my uncles and grandpa and would tell me of the glory days, and so I knew all about Richmond being a powerhouse, but just hadn't lived it. But then obviously, got to play footy at the Demons, and then was able to get an opportunity at the Tigers, which and still presently here. So it's funny how it sort of comes full circle. But Belgrave was my first real. So I played 1 year of under-14s football at Upper Ferntree Gully, mm-hmm. and then 2 years of under-18s football at Belgrave. I was more of a basketballer, not at any great level, played rep basketball on a Friday night, not at any state level or anything like that, but loved basketball, but always loved football, kicked around in the backyard, played at school, and then my one of my best mates at school, who was the footy captain of the school and captain of Belgrave and the footy guru, he was a star. Dave got me down to play at Belgrave because they were low on numbers in the under-18s, heard all the stories, they had a ball. Sort of as soon as the opportunity came up, I was like, I want to play with these guys because it sounds like fun. And so played a couple of seasons of under-18s, a little bit of seniors as well as an underager. All my brothers were up there, all his brothers were up there. It was a real family type atmosphere. So that was my first real genuine foray into football outside of one sort of fun season of under-14s.
What did they where did they slot you in on the field? Were you an undersized ruckman or a big tall defender, and what did you like about it?
In my basketball, I was the small, I was point guard, smallest on the team, as a 15, 16-year-old. So when I went to football, I was starting to grow, so still no key position, no ruck, nothing on that. I was just sort of, I think naturally tended to defend, so probably got put in the back line a fair bit, and then started to go pretty well and got some opportunities on ball, and under-18s was a little bit of just fun and throw the team around and give different people different chances all over the place. So it was a great opportunity just to play everywhere, really go forward, go back on ball. Probably by the back end of the second season, I was getting taller and taller, and they give me a chance to run and jump in the ruck and beanpole ruckman.
You were drafted to Melbourne in 2002. What stands out about kind of arriving at the club and then playing your first game, which was the following year? Yeah,
it was all a bit of a whirlwind because football wasn't. I didn't see it as a pathway. I was just finishing up at Belgrave in the under-18s, and my last year of school. It's actually a PE teacher that was at Frankston that said, "Hey, you should come down and have a go. Like, come down and do pre-season in the VFL. You never know. You might be able to play semi-professionally." And I just did it out of curiosity to see how far I could go. Could I get in the team? First of all, could I get on the list?
Right.
Could I get a game in the reserves? I did that. Could I get a game in the seniors? I did that. And so it's sort of one thing led to another. And rather than have an ambition to play AFL, just the opportunity presented itself. I heard that there was people watching at a certain game, didn't play very well, so I thought that was gone. But yeah, when I got the opportunity to get drafted, it just sort of felt like a natural progression, just bit by bit. Mm-hmm. It wasn't something I ever set out to do. And so then, it was a bit of a whirlwind when I actually got the opportunity, like, this actually happened, this is real, like, where'd this come from? And Melbourne were quite good at that stage and had come off a final series in 2003. It was in that period of they were a bit up and down, final series and then drop out, go finals again. So first, looking at the highlights from the season before and watching young Adam Uze and young Cameron Bruce and Brad Green and David Neitz as captain, and they were playing really exciting footy. So it was quite exciting for me just to go into an AFL club that's vibrant, that's looking to play finals. It was a really exciting time.
Do you remember your first game well?
I don't remember specifics about it. I remember the whole. I remember playing Hawthorn and we won by a goal. I remember the excitement of the crowd in the last moments of just the energy around the crowd, and a couple of, without even remembering the specific moments, I remember there were key moments, and in the back line just, someone chopped the ball out down the field that just prevented a possibility of them scoring or us having to defend, and just thinking, you beauty, we're one step closer. So, and then the relief when the siren went. So a few, I don't remember it vividly, but I do remember some of the bigger feelings of the excitement and the pressure and just the crowd in a close game that I'd never experienced before was pretty astonishing.
The wider footy community knows Neil Daniher now as a kind of an inspirational figure, an Australian of the Year, no less. Tell us what he was like as a coach, and I'm just wondering whether there were any takeaways from your contact with him that you can kind of put into your practice these days.
Yeah, it's funny. In my first couple of years, I probably got a little bit of a good run. I was 21-year-old, more of a mature age recruit, but still young, and young physically and probably maturity-wise. So I still felt like I was an 18-year-old draftee, and got some opportunities as a bit of a prospect. Still earned them, but got a little bit of a look in as, hey, let's give this guy a chance. And then probably in the back end of my fourth and fifth season, felt like I was a bit hard done by, and I thought I could have got more opportunities that I deserved better. But the gives and takes of football. So Danners I wasn't the most close with Neil, but also respected him as a coach. And one thing that really stands out to this day, and I can think back of, I just always felt how powerfully he lent into and how he drove the group to lean into challenge, whatever challenge presented, footy-wise in particular, but life as well, which is funny funny is the wrong word, but it's interesting how it's played out. But the one thing that resonates with me the most around Neil and thinking back to those days was, and what I probably took from him was just leaning into any challenge and trying to make the most of that challenge that's presented. He was a really strong motivator. Hey, this is the challenge. This is how we're going to rally together. This is how we're going to get the most out of it, whatever that challenge may be. So it is interesting, what he's gone on to do and how powerful he's been and inspirational he's been outside of football now. So, pretty inspirational character.
Brilliant. As I mentioned up the top, you also sort of had a front row seat for watching a bit of our own Adam Uze on the field as a player. What was he like back then? And I don't know, could you tell he would coach someday, or cerebral player?
I always just thought, very instinctive player, skillful, instinctive. Certainly when you think back, it's easy to piece it together and go, with these traits, why wouldn't he have ended up a coach? But it's not something that I was thinking at the time of, hey, this guy will kick on to be that necessarily. But also, again, another thing that does still sit with me from that time and now in retrospect is his ability to connect with any player on the list. And as I'm coming in as the little guy in your first year, and the guys like Cam Bruce and Brad Green and Adam Uze, who they were young but really making their claim and pretty big figures at the club, and just there, but also Uze's ability just not to have a inflated sense of importance, actually just bounce off whoever was around and respect each individual for who they were. Like I felt it very easy to communicate with and bounce off those types of guys, and Uze was a big one for that. So when you think about coaching now and how he connects with a wide range of ages and different characteristics and different people, and his ability just to respect people for who they are and want to get the best out of them, that makes sense.
Absolutely. So you played on some of the best key forwards in the AFL at the time. Who kind of stands out and why? I mean, take us through some of those names and the tough matchups and what it was like standing those guys.
Richo.
Richo.
I got my first opportunity playing on Richo in don't know what it was back then, maybe Wizard Cup
Right.
in the pre-season comp, and I think he was a bit underdone, to be fair. And I had all my mates and family fill up a bay at Marvel Stadium, or was it Telstra Dome, Colonial, whatever it might have been, and that was my grand final and probably his tune-up.
Yeah.
And I got the better of him in the pre-season game, and that got me a game in round one. So that was
Amazing.
and my my mates and my family are cheering that on and having a lot of fun with that. So that's a cool memory. But actually did play on him a couple of times in season. I remember one game in season now, and I think Brad Miller might have started on him, and I'm on the bench as just the backup.
Yep.
And he had taken 5 marks and kicked 2 goals in the first 10 minutes, I reckon. And then sure enough, the call-up came, like, oh, here we go. And then thought I did a really good job for 2.5 quarters.
Yep.
He got the jump on us early, thought I did a really good job for 2.5 quarters, and in the last quarter, they got plenty of ball. He took some marks, kicked another couple of goals. He's ended up having a day out. So he's probably going, youngster, pre-season, no problem. I'll take the real thing, thank you.
It sounds like injury sort of contributed to the end of your stint in the AFL, but you went on to great success at West Adelaide. I'm reliably informed by people at the club who know you that you're a legend there. Winner of 4 BNFs, a captain, and in their Hall of Fame already. What did you enjoy about your time in the SANFL?
Adelaide, amazing place to play football. So I went over and continued my teaching degree and played for West Adelaide, and thought it was going to be a 1-year stint, and ended up 6 years in captain and really heavily invested, and a place I still call home and I still visit regularly and are very much attached to. So yeah, it was bigger and better than I ever thought it might be. I went over for a bit of an adventure and do something different after the stresses of AFL footy. Like great time playing at Melbourne and lots of great memories and loved it. But also on the fringe at times and injuries and a lot of stress and pressure, and just do something different. That was a bit of a challenge for me, and a change of scenery. But yeah, it turned out a lot more significant than what I thought it would be, and to this day still have. Yeah, that's the team that I. Love my time at Melbourne. That's the team in terms of who I played for that I really have a huge attachment to now, and still heavily invested in the club and want them to do well. So I went over with a whole group of. Actually, Nathan Brown, who played at Melbourne, and Shane Neves were 2 guys I played with that went over. And then there was another couple of guys from Coburg in the VFL. There was probably a host of 7 or 8 Victorians that were going over at one time. Andy Collins was going to be the coach.
Yep.
And so I felt this comfort in this group that was going to go over and make a go of it. And we all just invested in the town and invested in the club. And what that presented was just this great environment. They're a working class club. There's just a real great community feel, camaraderie, playing good level football, like quality footy over there. So just that balance of lifestyle was really up my alley for that time. And to this day, we actually have a really strong connection at Richmond with West Adelaide in terms of. Ben Rutten from over there, Steve Morris, yes. I played with over there, Choco Williams, even Brad Helbig playing back in the day with the Tigers, and a premiership player at West Adelaide. Greg Mallor was an assistant coach at Richmond who coached me at West Adelaide and opened the door for me to just get an interview at Richmond. So I owe a lot to him. I'm 10, 11 years now at Richmond, and without Greg, I wouldn't have got that opportunity. So there's a lot of Even Shelby Knoll from our W program played a game with West Adelaide this year in their return from ACL. So we have a lot of people that have had connections with both clubs, which is really cool too.
You speak very fondly of winning something called the Foxtel Cup while you were there too.
I reckon Tate might have put you on that one.
Competition. He did, Tate Spiteri.
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, so that was like a Tuesday night competition that ran for I'm not sure how many years. It was like the best 2 teams in each state league would play off in a knockout series on a Tuesday night during the season, a bit like the sort of the soccer model.
Yeah.
And it was just it was a bit of fun, but it was also competitive, and it was who you're playing, how you're managing your list, because you got a game on the weekend, but also if you get the win, you can proclaim to be the best team outside the AFL. You can also earn a bit of prize money, which got when we won it got split up amongst all the players on the list, which is just a bit of a bonus. But it was a bit of a novelty, but in a really competitive way of like, who can be the best team in the nation outside of the AFL. And then we played a real nail biter to win one at Footy Park against one of the Western Australian teams, which was enjoyable.
Let's get away from the footy field for a second, because I believe the sporting experience in your household goes well beyond our provincial little national game. You got some experience or contact with the Winter Olympics. How so?
Yeah, I'm lucky. I got a trip over to Vancouver to jump into the village and experience a bit of that firsthand, and watch Lydia Lassala win gold over there. But my number one priority was Bree Munro, my wife. Had qualified for the Olympics and in aerial skiing, and it was a work in progress. She'd had some injuries. She'd done an ACL. She'd broken her neck, and she'd come from a really challenging period of time and worked her way into a position to qualify for the Olympics. And I'm quite proud of what I've done in footy in a national game, but that's sort of pales into insignificance when you're on the Olympic stage. So that was very exciting for someone I love to be able to do that, and then for me to experience that with her and her whole family that were over there. So we had a bit of a holiday and see Vancouver, which is a fantastic place, but then to be swept up in the Olympics, and then to have that sort of interesting, the feeling of watching her jump firsthand. Always was watching her from on the screen or reading up or listening back, because the time frames didn't match up when I was competing. To be able to get over there and watch it firsthand, watch it live, and the adrenaline of wanting her to do well, when you see it firsthand and see the fear of just please be okay and don't hurt yourself. Oh, that all combined became a bit more real when you're there, whereas when you were both athletes and talking shop and bouncing off each other, it wasn't quite as real when you weren't there. And when you see them, however high in the sky they are, and landing on a pretty firm surface, it's that adrenaline was a different feeling that I hadn't felt before watching on. But like I said, to get into the village, and as a sports fan, we're all sports fans, whether we play it or not. Whether we play it, coach it, we still appreciate it and love it. So to be able to get in the village and just see the athletes and experience a bit of that firsthand was unbelievable.
I understand that you're also a school teacher. You mentioned when you went across to South Australia that you're still sort of studying that degree. What did you teach and where, and what did you enjoy about that? Yeah,
PE science was my background. So I was lucky enough to, combining with football, I got a lot of short-term contracts and a bit of relief work, and saw a lot of different schools and a lot of different environments. Really love, there was always a story, never particulars, appreciate the confidentiality side of things. There was always a story at the end of a school day of there's always something going on. There's always entertaining. The feel-good nature of helping, very similar to coaching, right? Of helping people get better, helping people grow. That side of things is probably links up so well with coaching. But to see so many different cultures and environments and experiences, I love the ability to combine footy and teaching, and they do go hand in hand so well.
It's quite common, isn't it, for AFL coaches to have that teaching background?
Yeah.
You eventually left West Adelaide to play at Williamstown briefly, then joined Richmond as a development coach in 2015, working closely with young key position players. Who were some of the young guys that you kind of guided early on and in the coming years there?
Early days, came in with in the sort of draft year of Kane Lambert and Jaden Short. I remember flying up to Townsville, I think it was, after I got the job as a development coach, and it was a very similar time that they got drafted, and then settled into a development and backline and helping out Ben Rutten. So Nathan Broad, it was early days in his career, so love working with him and just helping him grow his game. He was a brilliant, everyone's seen what he's made of his career, brilliant person to work with, and just so disciplined and hardworking and such the ultimate team person. But Jaden Short, early days when he got moved to when he's on the half-back line. Liam Baker, when he went to half-back to have a bit of a trial run. I think we're at Whitten Oval. Well, let's have a try. Let's see if Liam Baker can play half-back. I'm like, you can do that pretty well. Noah Bolter was a fun one to work with. Love, still stay close with him and really enjoyable person to coach, challenging person to coach, but really enjoyable person to coach. So had a good variety, and lots of people that might have played in premierships, might not have kicked on in other ways, and even wasn't so much a key back, but Liam McGabeen, who didn't quite kick on in terms of AFL, but had an amazing career at Glenelg and
absolutely,
and captain, multiple premiership captain, and captain of the South Australian team that's gone on to win games. And so even guys like that, that's still pretty special to think about. Those people that have kicked on in other ways.
I remember you from when I was doing the books at Richmond as being sort of right in the back pocket of Craig McRae. It was sort of you and Fly working on the VFL program a lot of the time. What did you learn from him, and what have you been able to sort of put into your own practice that you took from that time?
Yeah, I thought we had a really special bond, Fly, myself, and also Xavier Clark at one point in time. We just almost had this sweet spot of coaching, of just challenging each other, enjoying each other's company, setting up a program that we were really proud of, that we thought really gave players the opportunity to make the most of their footy and to press for senior selection, and then to become long-term AFL footballers, give them the best chance of success. So, and still really proud of the VFL program and all the different players and staff and coaches, and how strong it's, Jake Batchelor to this day, how strong that program is, and having a say in that's really special. But learned so much off Fly, still bounce off him regularly. Would call him a mentor. Andy Collins is the other one that I still bounce off a lot of. I've probably learnt the most from, and resonate the most with Andy Collins and with Craig McRae. Like just the one thing I learnt the most, the biggest impact from Fly, and there's so many things, but the biggest impact was early days. I realising that we need to control the narrative. Don't let other people outside control the narrative. We are in control of that, and that's something that you hold dear. So to this day, that's something that I continue to make sure I'm on top of. Is like, no, this is our group, and it's our narrative, and it's our story to write, and it's not for other people to hijack that. It's not for us to shine a light where it doesn't need to be. Again, a million. There's a lot of Flyisms that I still take into my coaching, and same with Coloisms. And there's lots of things that I wouldn't take in terms of being myself. And but those are guys that I certainly resonated with in terms of character and footy. And lots of great funny stories, and we used to challenge each other regularly. And a couple of times on game day, Fly was like, "Hey, just got to pull back there, mate. I know I got a bit frustrated there, but just pull back. Don't add to my frustration." So a bit of learning from me when to poke and prod, and when to challenge, and when to just play that role of support and understanding each other. So I think we grew really well together, and to this day still bounce off each other a lot.
Fly's a funny one in that way. I feel like the public perception of him right now is of this very cuddly Ted Lasso creature, but he always seemed also utterly uncompromising up close.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm really lucky to have bounced off a lot of outstanding coaches, brilliant minds and characters. Working with Ben Rutten early days, Adam Kingsley, who's doing really well as a senior coach, and to be working alongside Damien Hardwick and Choco, Blake Carousella, and then with Andy Collins and Craig McRae, I just feel like I've got this great foundation of understanding what great coaching looks like, what a great groups look like, how to build a group, how to sustain a group. So, and Fly in terms of the standards that he upholds, but still with that personal touch, and still being able to make sure that he enjoys what he's doing, and the group enjoy what they're doing, but with a really high standard. So that's an art of coaching it's easy to want it. It's another thing to be able to put that into practice. So it's something that we're always striving for. But I'm lucky enough to be able to work off a lot of great minds in those ways, and know what success looks like, and know what a group building looks like.
Talk to me about the challenges around the pandemic. So you were one of the many people sort of stood down from your role during that time. Did you panic? Did you wonder, will I ever get back to clubland? Like, or has my dream just been snatched from me? Like, what was that like for you?
Yeah, whether it's family, we talked about Neil Danaher and embracing that challenge. I have always generally been someone that rolls with the punch and goes, all right, what's presented and how do you make the most of it? So naturally, I think I was well set up to embrace it. But in saying that, it was certainly a challenge because lots changed real quick, not just for me, for everyone. And it was interesting. At the time, I was in a hub with Sam Lonergan in a Melbourne hub with players that didn't go up to Queensland. So there was not the whole group went up initially. Mm-hmm. So we would have had, we're training. Basher Hooley was training and Shane Edwards was training to try and get back up there, and because they were injured. Yep. And then we had a host of young players that were training just to stay fit and healthy in the hope that they could get up there with the rest of the team. And I remember fighting really hard to get when Basher and Shedder went up there, that was great. But it was like, hey, these kids need to get up there too. They're part of the team. And whether they can help on game day or not, they can help, push the culture. And we're one unit. So every match committee was pushing and pushing and pushing. Like, let's get these kids up there. For some reason, they were a bit of a lag process of, or do we really want? Is it a bit of a distraction? Do we really want them up there? I was like, no, you got to get this group together. Mm. Now, unfortunately, once we got some success with that, and the boys went up there, it was, you're not needed anymore. so that was a bit of a tough pill to swallow. But yeah, it was pretty much like, Tim Livingston and Blair Hartley, really tough, challenging situation for them, because I know they didn't want to make these types of decisions, but they had to. The way they handled it was unbelievable and with total respect. So although it was tough and I challenged them, and they made decisions, but it was with total respect. And so, I did just I did wonder, like, where do we go next? Is it AFL? Is there another opportunity? There's not many. At that time, I was like, there's no other opportunities elsewhere because they're all being taken away. But will it rebound? How quickly will it rebound? Will there be opportunities? There was a lot of unknown. Luckily, I did have teaching to fall back on, so I just went straight back into teaching immediately, and there was teaching opportunities because we still, whether it was on Zoom or whether it was, there was still, people with needs that needed teachers on campus. So I just jumped straight into teaching, which sort of took my mind and took my passion and helping people learn and grow. So that helped. And then obviously, Neil Baum mentioned, hey, could be an opportunity with this women's team, and I reckon can't offer you the job, but I reckon you'd be a really good candidate to put your hand up, and we'd love to get you into the process. And so I had to think about that. I'm like, sounds a bit weird. I've just been sacked. And now I'm going to apply for a job at the same club in a different program. But the more I thought of it, the more excited I got by the challenge of taking over a team that's very much at the start of their journey in a comp that's very much in the start of its journey. I'm like, that's right up my alley of building something from the ground up. So it was like, this could be outstanding. So just jumped into that straight away.
And when you came back and did that in 2021, I'm curious, did you notice any difference required in the approach to coaching a group of women versus a group of men? Or, I don't know, is that an inherently sexist question?
Not really. There's subtle differences. It's all relevant. It's all coaching. It's all people. It's all learning, connections, engaging people. But there are, different, regardless men or women, from a comp that's starting from the ground up, from a team that's starting from the ground up, that's very different from a mature 10-year team or a mature 100-year comp. So is that male or female, or is that just where the comp's at? Right. And then there's obviously, are there differences in how our brains are wired as a generality? Obviously, individually, you can't go to that, but as a general rule, are there how women process things versus the connecting side of things, but it's all relevant in men and women. So it's just like how much of a light is shone on certain areas, how much of an emphasis is on certain areas. I know early days it was very much And again, could have been the coming from, some players that had less footy experience or trying to process less and trust instinct more. But to do that, you got to do the work, and you got to the skill work, the game style work, the understanding football, to then be able to back your instincts. So it was trying to build up the base of, the foundation of football and experiences, so then you can trust your instincts. Because early days I did notice a lot of processing going on. Like, hey, we're thinking too much, we're over processing, and we're not thinking quickly. So as coaches, how can we help to strip things back? But again, like, layer the education so they feel like they've got the ability to trust instincts rather than overthink and overprocess.
Did you have any sort of baseline principles or rules or habits that you wanted to establish? Like, we're going to get to all of this detail, but there's 3 things that are just really key for me,
Yeah, I'd have to have a think about. There would have been, but I do know that such was the thirst for knowledge, the diligence to just want to be better and want to fast track. Like, how good can we be and how quick? They were on a, it was just on a journey of just wanting to get better quick. Yeah. And so that is a challenge. It's brilliant, but it is a challenge to go, well, we do have to scaffold, and we do have to build sustainably, and we do have to make sure that we're focusing on the right areas and the big rocks at the right time, that we don't try and go to everything, and that's when that's when we can get a bit muddled. So it was definitely a lot about building the culture early days. In your second season, and they've been battered around a bit in the first season, come in with a lot of excitement, but then all of a sudden realise, this is quite difficult. There's some teams that are established that are really strong, and this ain't going to be easy, and this ain't park football anymore. So the professionalism side of things, the culture and the team, and the coming back to the team, when things get tough, the coming back to the team and building a predictable way of playing were high priority areas at the time, and embracing the journey and understanding that improvement's not linear, and that there will be stumbling blocks along the way, but to embrace that journey and not to panic and second guess yourself. So that were some really big ticket items, just to get some stability and build some excitement, and then put the building blocks in place to then be able to create some success.
I've got a few quick questions from fans regarding a couple of key players. Ellie McKenzie, how do you think she's coping with the burden of being a number 1 pick?
I don't think there's too much internally. There might be more than I give it credit for, but I know it's not something that's ever been talked about much, at our club and from our coaches and from our players. And I do know early days jumping on that language of like, no, it's not, the number pick is not relevant anymore. 55, 22, number 1. Once you're in, you're a Richmond person, and it's what you make. It's what you make of the opportunity. So that's definitely been our mentality. But also, I think Ellie's mentality, her team competitiveness and team first mentality, and helping her guide that along there. You can take any anxiety away or any pressure away, because you can come back to she's a team person, so you can always come back to team. What do I need to do for the team? How do we make the team better? And that can really take away any pressure from, when I was picked up, or what my expectations are, or what number I was, or what people expect, versus how do I make this team better?
Katie Brennan, just how important is it to the team to have that kind of foundational league pioneer, a kind of once marquee signing, now kind of leading the club?
Yeah, everybody probably feels similar to me individually with this too, because individually I'm so grateful to have a captain and a leader of her, like her character, and how she's as good a leader, male, female, anything that I've ever seen. She's up there with the best of them, and for me to have that support as coach and trying to help build a team and for success, and to have that stability and have that type of leader, and how well she engages with her teammates, how well she drives them, how well she challenges them, and also her growth as well. That she was good from the start, but year on year she gets better and better. Like she embraces that growth mindset of how can she be better. So individually, I feel really privileged that I've had that support from a really strong captain, and I'm sure I can sense that so many other individuals feel the same way for themselves of how Katie's helped them. Our biggest challenge is making sure that we also help Katie too, and we don't, that we allow her to focus on her game. And it's always a good reminder for me. It's like, hey, let's spend some time on you because you help so many other people. Let's spend some time. How can we help you? How can we freshen you up? How can we keep you clear of mind and really focusing on your game? Because she's such a competitor. She wants to be the best individual she can be, but she's just 100% team-oriented and wants to drive success for the club and for the group. So it's she's certainly been one of the fun ones to have on board, but also, just outstanding character.
Speaking of helping hands, so Mon Conti, clearly a superstar, but do we depend on her too much, and can we relieve the load placed on her?
We have at times. At our best, and particularly early last season, we did get a balance where, that you could go hard and tag Mon and really put a lot of time and effort into that, and then Ellie McKenzie was getting off the chain, and Ailish Sheeran was hunting the ball, Grace Egan was impacting, and then it was really difficult for other teams. When we were really working well together, it was difficult for other teams to then, do we put that much time into Mon when so many other players are impacting? So there has been times where we've done it really well, but there has been times where she's shouldered a lot of the load and we've needed to support more and just have a better balance across the field to have more ball winning ability and more impact spread across. So it's a challenge to make sure we get that right, but we know what it looks like and we have evidence that when we are playing our game and playing as a unit, that's really hard to stop. And that, you see it in the men's game. Well, do you tag or not? Because if the midfield unit's operating well, if the team system is operating well, how do you go for one person when someone else is just going to get out? So that's our challenge and what we've been working towards, of just making sure that our system and our team operate at a level where it's not about the individual. It's that anyone can stand up at any moment and hurt the opposition. Another
quick one from a fan. Brendan Favola was brought into the program this year as a specialist coach working with the forwards. What's his impact been like? Are we going to see dead eyes in front of goals?
I hope so.
Threading them through the big sticks now.
Oh, I hope so. His craft has been outstanding. He's done a lot of one-on-one craft, definitely goal kicking, a lot of goal kicking, but a lot of craft work as well, forward craft and in certain situations, how can you get an advantage and what are the defenders trying to do and have you tried this, have you tried that? So his hands-on stuff has been really outstanding. Been pleasantly surprised, surprised is the wrong word because that's what we thought we were getting, but really pleased with how he's being out. His subtle ways of reading the room of, hey, this is the messaging from the coaching group and this is how I can support that. And the consistency of messaging and the communication of, hey, Ferg, this player reached out, I want to work with him on this, anything from your angle, how do I support the message? He's been very much a team player in wanting to come in and support what's already there. And I do feel like there's definitely been a lot of players that are growing in confidence of having that expertise and that, he's definitely a big heart with expertise, and to see his coaching develop has been, I've been really proud of that too. To go, he's learning as other players, but the ability to do it from a team perspective and complement the other coaches and complement the players it's been really pleasing to see him get to work.
You've had great success with the team, ticking off those milestones: first win, first final. Tigers now seem like a solid team that's thereabouts. But that only kind of prompts that age-old question for coaches. How do you go from good to great?
Consistency has been a big focus of ours. We feel like our best footy is right up there and we can match it with the best. We definitely want to continue to push the ceiling higher. But we had levels of inconsistency where we dropped away and we weren't the team that we felt like we could be consistently. So working on investing in every moment and playing the moments and investing in the system and creating reliability and consistency and predictability in, hopefully other teams scout us and they know what we're going to do, but we're so predictable to each other that, we're going to be hard to stop. That's the type of game that we've been working towards. The players have been really hungry the hurt from the pride in the season and what we're capable of, but the hurt in not getting what we wanted at the end of the season. I think that's a really powerful driver. Now we've parked that, because then it's what do we need to do now, and we know that can be a powerful motivator. But stop looking backwards and understand, hey, what do we need to do now? So the players have been really hungry this off season into the pre-season, and obviously excited for round one coming up. But they've been driving that consistency and that team-oriented, system-based approach of like, hey, bring the intent, bring that fiery edge, and make sure that we're all doing it together in a really strong system where we know our role, we play our role, and we're really hard to stop.
Can't wait to see it all on the field. Thanks very much for coming in for a conversation, Ferg.
I appreciate the chat. I'm very excited to come in, my first crack at it, so hopefully it went all right.
Brilliant. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Konrad.